what's going on? I'm on strike. What? You're on strike? Yeah, I need a break. What do you mean you need a break? He goes, well, I'm tired of laying eggs. And all I do is lay eggs, lay eggs, lay eggs. Well, no, it's okay. We take a break this time of year. What do you mean we take a break? Yeah, we do. With the time change and everything, though, we have less light. You can start laying less eggs, but don't worry about it. She goes, well, hold on. Tree's going to talk about it today. Let's talk to Tree about it. Well, okay. Hey, Tree, where you at? Hey, here we go. Where we at now? Oh, on strike. Yeah, right. How we doing? Hey, what's that picture doing up there? I got a
Uh-oh.
picture. Uh-oh, that's a mistake. But hey, we have a special guest on today, and I can't say their name because they're top secret. Honey Meadow Farms
Yes, sir.
up in far northeast Texas has come to join us on today's podcast. Now, Bailey's here, of course, and I normally have this camera on the chickens for the chicken tunnels, but we are recording this Thursday night because I have stuff to do tomorrow and I can't do the podcast tomorrow, unfortunately. So, Honey Meadow Farms, let's hear about Honey Meadow Farms. What's you all about?
Well, moved up to East Texas after living in the DFW area just a couple years ago. Thought we'd get a family fun flock of chickens. That's what I call a mixed flock of yard birds just for some eggs. We need a little food. Quickly realized that I was in deep. Lots of chickens, lots of breeds, and finally found what I like. Started breeding chickens, started selling chickens, and just continuing to, I guess, get a little bit better every time I would sell and buy. I would just kind of improve my stock and collect what I wanted, continue to grow our infrastructure, continue to meet a lot of fantastic people, continue to read and just learn. And the whole reason, once I started realizing that I love chickens, the whole reason I wanted to sell chickens was because I started meeting people who would buy chickens from people and be sold an old hen. An old hen with spurs, a sick hen, a rooster that was supposed to be a hen, or birds with all kinds of illnesses. And that really bothered me. I've also bought sick birds from very reputable people, and I've had to battle with that. And so, something that I pride myself on is having really stringent biosecurity, staying up with whatever I can as far as what's coming out, what's going around. And really, I love to try to help other people learn as much about poultry as I can. So that's what we do over here. I spend time with my poultry, spend time with my people, meet a lot of wonderful people, and eat a lot of eggs.
So, what's your specialty? What birds? Breeds.
My favorite birds are English Orpingtons.
All right. So, I got a chance to meet a man here locally. He's about 30 minutes from me over in Cypress area, and his name's Ken McCracken. And he's probably on, I don't know, 10, 15 acres of land. And I bet he's got 1,000 or more buff Orpingtons in there.
Wow.
And I love they're beautiful birds, and I've never seen such beautiful Orpingtons in my life. I mean, gorgeous birds. And people in my area, when they want those Orpingtons, I send them to him, because his birds are beautiful. And his family's had the property since like the days of the Civil War. They've been
Oh,
on
wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And there's an old house that's still on it. It's an old shack. It's really kind of neat to see. But yeah, Ken's got a beautiful place. He's got quite a variety, but he has more than Orpingtons and so forth. But yeah, those are beautiful birds. And I came real close to getting into those, and I picked New Hampshires instead. But I lost 3 New Hampshires this summer to the heat.
I'll tell you what, the English Orpingtons are not like the typical hatchery buffs that you see, and they are very heavy birds. They're very heavily feathered, and thank goodness we did not lose any, but we did run a lot of soaker hoses, and I was out there carrying water
Well,
lot.
my New Hampshires are heavily feathered. They are.
Yes.
They are. And I like Rhode Island Reds, and I like Barred Rocks. And my Barred Rocks, I have all the different colors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I've got the blue Plymouth Rocks, the Partridge Rocks, the white Plymouth Rocks, the regular grays and blacks, and now I have Sapphire Gems because I'm breeding them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'll have all those in them Rhode Island Reds, and then I bought. I wanted some white egg layers because I have a chef that buys eggs from me, and he said, "Can you give me some white eggs?" I said, "Yeah, sure." As soon as they grow up, and so I bought 6 Leghorns and pullets, and the feed store I was buying them from they get all their chicks from Privet's hatchery out of New Mexico.
I've heard interesting things about them.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be great. They still buy from them. They've been buying from them for years, but my chickens, I just started a whole new flock in January, and they're a mess. I mean, my Barred Rocks, I got, out of all my pullets, I bought like 50 birds. 14 of them were roosters.
That's another topic for another show is the rooster conundrum, because a lot of us who are raising birds that are auto-sexing, what do you do with all your roosters? People that
eat them.
Well, how do you eat 100 roosters?
Yeah, but no, so that's not the only issue we had with them. Like the Leghorns,
Mm-hmm.
that I purchased the 6 Leghorns. I got 3 white pullet Leghorns. I got 2 roosters and a Delaware.
Oh,
the Delaware's the same color as them with their babies. They're yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is crazy. And then the Rhode Island Reds, I bought 9. 4 were pullets, 5 were roosters.
Oh, man.
And then what color eggs does a Barred Rock lay?
Cream?
Brown, cream, yeah. Brown. I got 14 Barred Rocks that lay green eggs.
You're kidding me.
No, no. They got mixed somewhere on down the line. I mean, you look at the chicken, you're like, that's a Barred Rock.
Yeah.
Laying a green egg. And then some of them, they grew crests on their heads.
Oh, you know what they are. You know what they are then.
Well, they're mixes. They are barnyard mixes,
They're
like leg bars and stuff like this. Because I have leg bars, I do.
Yeah.
But they're not leg bars.
They're like a cross, the hatchery cross. Yeah.
And
there's a lot of that going around lately.
And it's crazy. I kept them. I sold a few. I did, but I mean, I was pissed. It really was. I mean, this isn't right. I'm trying to look up, see if I got a picture of one, but I don't. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've been working on separating all my birds because all of a sudden, in my one coop where I had my New Hampshires and my Rhode Island Reds, they got along fine. The roosters were fine. They get along fine. They don't mess with each other, and all of a sudden, they're fighting. And
once those girls start laying.
Well, no, they've all been laying for months.
Really? And they just decided.
Yes, they just started fighting. And then everyone's picking on the Leghorns. And all the Leghorns, they're nothing new. They've been in the coop with them for months.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is crazy. I got to get them separated. And I had this old shed in my backyard covered in vines. And I'm like, when it gets colder, I'll clean it up, And I'm like, here's a picture of it.
Is that the one you're building? Because it looks great.
Yeah, here's the beginning of it.
It looks so good now.
Yeah, well, that was after I started cleaning it out. But here I am digging underneath it and laying down the mesh to keep predators out and so forth. There's my egg laying nest. But you got to lay down this mesh because otherwise things are going to dig in and get to your chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So I did all that, built the coop. That's a best nest box. So I can just go and check from the outside. I don't have to go inside the coop.
That's nice.
I have a hen gear nesting box on another coop, which works awesome. These I bought used from a gal up the road from me, and I haven't used them yet. So we'll see how they do. But they look like they're kind of built the same way. And this is the inside view of it.
Nice.
And then I brought in 2,200 pounds of sand, and the whole bottom is sand, and then the windows are hardware mesh.
Nice.
Yeah, and then that's the outside.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Looks
It
real
looks
good.
really
Yeah,
good.
I take pride in it. I've built all myself, so I enjoy doing that. But that's what I'm working on work now. I still have to build the perches, and as soon as I get the perches, I'm gonna start moving birds in. Then I'll start painting it. I'm just gonna paint the outside.
Nice.
Yeah,
You gonna paint it anything special?
I just paint it white. Yeah.
Got to put a Texas flag on that left panel over there. It's just about the dimensions of a flag.
Well, I'm thinking about putting chicken ranch on the front of it.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, because that was a big thing down the road down LaGrange for years, and I don't know if you've heard of that or not. The chicken ranch.
It sounds, yeah, actually, my husband's a Houstonian native.
Well, the chicken ranch was Dolly Parton was in a movie with Burt Reynolds about it.
Yep.
Yep.
They
And
have there's actually a couple people that have little coops modeled after that I've
they
seen.
probably do. They probably do.
Mhm.
Like I have, this. It's actually was known. The main movie was the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So I have a coop that's called the Jailhouse Rock Coop,
Oh, cool.
and my rooster's Elvis, and it's got all the Barred Rock chickens. And then I have
That's perfect.
my colored coop, and people are like, oh, I can't believe you said colored. I'm like, why? It's got all colored egg layers in it.
Yeah, crayons are colored too.
Right. So I mean, yeah, you know all about crayons. You
Yeah.
serve them up to dinner to your husband every night. Yeah,
Sure do.
with eggs.
Oh man.
What's in that omelet? Crayons.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't go on that. But so I got that coop, and then I've got this new coop that's going to be the chicken ranch, and then I've got another coop that has Easter eggers and olive eggers in it, and they're going to be moved into this coop along with all those Barred Rocks that are laying green eggs.
Those mystery rocks.
Yeah, and then on the right side is going to be my New Hampshires, and the original coop that they were in will be just Barred Rock. I got so many birds, can't think of it. The original coop that the New Hampshires were in, along with the Rhode Island Reds, will just be Rhode Island Reds only, because I love Rhode Island Reds, and that's what I'm mainly going to be breeding those in Barred Rocks. And then
have the Heritage Rhode Islands or like those?
Well, I have them on order.
Nice.
Yeah, from Cackle Hatchery. They'll be coming in after the first of the year.
Awesome.
And I'll have the heirloom Barred Rocks as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I'm going to have them because they're chickens. Those are much darker chickens. They're beautiful.
They look really good. I favor them over the red color.
What hatchery are you dealing with?
So, I have bought my English Orpingtons from a breeder here in Texas, and they're Creole and Isabel, so they're not available at any hatcheries.
Okay, all right.
I have not kept any of my hatchery birds, to be honest. I have bought other birds from Paul Smith. I don't know if you know the name. He's an Americana breeder.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have some other birds from a place called Sandhill Preservation Center. I don't know if you've heard of those.
I've heard of that.
I'm not entirely sure how it's going to pan out with those birds or not yet, but we'll find out.
Yeah. The Sandhills, I know a lot about Sandhills because I used to be a big time waterfowl hunter.
Gotcha.
And Sandhill crane are
so
ribeye of the skies.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
like
they are. They're delicious. They're beautiful birds, and a lot of times people have mistaken them and have shot other types of birds that are protected. Yeah, other cranes that are protected and so forth. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't see or hear of a lot of people hunting them around where we are, but this place is up in Iowa, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a lot of heirloom seeds and rare birds.
Mm-hmm.
have been doing what they're doing for a very long time, and they just had a couple real hard years. Flocks have been hit with different problems, and um, this year, and I don't know if this was a big deal for you or if you noticed this, but a lot of breeders, a lot of hatcheries even had a lot of problems this spring after about February with really difficult hatches. Just a lot of bumps in the road this year.
Well, a lot of it was also caused by the huge amount of sales.
True.
Yeah, and some hatcheries were buying from other people they didn't buy from because they were short on birds and needed to fill orders.
Oh,
So, which I have a funny feeling that may have been happening with all the birds I got because
they're sourcing out different
they're
people.
sourcing out different
Mhm.
people and they're getting birds that aren't being checked out properly, and it happened. They wanted to fill orders and take care of their customers.
And that makes a lot of sense because
Yeah.
even when I've done some live chick orders, I've received a box with 2 or 3 different kinds. And usually you get, one DOA or something, but in the box, it would be all the same breed that had perished on the journey.
So real quick on this thumbnail I have, you see this chicken on there?
Oh, yeah. She's mad.
What kind of chicken is that?
Oh, it looks kind of like, I don't know what that is.
That was supposed to be a Wyandotte that I got from that hatchery.
With a beard.
With 4 other Wyandottes. And no one's been able to determine what she is. In fact, when I first got her, she started growing up, and I was like, "Is that a hen or a rooster?"
Show me that picture again.
All right. Actually, let me just do this. I'm gonna bring up the whole picture over so you can see her better.
Sure thing.
Yeah. So when she first started growing up, we were trying to determine what she was. Couldn't tell if it was a hen or rooster. So we called her Brittany Gruner. And then when finally we figured out it was a hen,
Then you had to change the name because that is a dude.
I still call it Brittany, because it's a hen. But I mean, and she knows her name.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah, and she's real tall and skinny, got big feet,
Mm-hmm.
and dang it, where's the picture of her at?
That beard threw me off.
It does. It throws everyone off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it almost, does she have a crest as well?
Yes, she does. So we were talking about the crest earlier, and some of the barred rocks that have the crest.
Yes.
Here, look at this picture. This is born a barred rock.
And she's, that's a leg bar.
Brown.
You know what that is? It's a leg barred rock.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So, but that's like one of these mixes I got. Dang it, where is this?
They scrambled your order. They scrambled those chickens.
I know, it just makes me sick. I can't find her, and I only have a picture of her.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, she's a hoot. I mean, now she knows her name. It's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I came home earlier from going to the feed store, and I met a little gal there named Bree from Bear, or she called it Bexar Barbecue, or I pronounce it Bear. It's in Bear County.
Yeah.
And she works for them, and it's a barbecue place opened up here in Tomball. And she's telling me about it and everything. And I said,
Is that where you're located?
I'm outside of Tomball in a little town called Hockley.
My husband spent his teens in Tomball.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Back when nobody was out there.
Yeah. It used to be that way out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I can't find a picture of her. Oh, well.
That's all right. We'll see her in the future. I have a feeling.
Oh, yeah. I keep using her for all the things all the time. Yeah. So I used to have a picture of her on this page. I don't know what happened to it. But, yeah, she's a funny bird. But, the reason I came on tonight was to talk about changes and chickens going on strike. And people are like, why aren't my chicken laying eggs? I said, well, there's a molting process that happens every fall. You find feathers all over the place. I mean, I walked out one day and I was like, oh no, one of my chickens got attacked. And then I went, I counted them all and I went, Then I'm like, oh, they're molting, And when your chickens start molting, they stop laying eggs sometimes. But don't worry, they'll start up again. Now, I've always been told, and I think it's true, the cold season is the chicken's favorite time of year. And they love it, so they're not gonna, they're not gonna stop laying eggs, but the reason they slow down is because of time change.
That's one.
That's right.
Yeah, and there's many.
Yeah. And some people will even put lights in their coops so they can get more eggs and everything. But that's, I don't believe in that. I believe your chickens need a break. And if you have enough chickens, you'll have enough eggs. Yeah. Now, this new coop I just built, it's real dark inside. There's a big, huge, there's a 100-year-old oak tree hanging over the top of it. So the summer months, they're going to love it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so nice and cool in there.
Yes.
But the problem is, though, it gets no sunlight. It's dark. So I am adding a timed LED light inside the coop from like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So they have light inside the coop.
Yeah, and they'll know where to come back to if they by chance get distracted outside. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I have one coop out front in my front pasture that's surrounded by 200 feet of poultry netting, and they're free ranged every day. My other coops, I have one coop I move every day on the fresh grass, and I constantly move it on wheels and everything. And then my other two coops have chicken tunnels.
That's awesome. That's so fun.
The chicken tunnels I move around so they're always on green grass.
Well, we've got a similar setup here. I think you'd probably like it. We have ours on pasture as well. And my little coops are very Spartan. They're actually made out of children's playhouses. I don't have carpentry skills and I don't have a big budget, but I found them on clearance a couple years ago and converted them all with hardware cloth on the windows. Instead of having windows at the top, they're at the bottom. So the whole base is open.
Yeah.
They've got the normal door and window, added some roof bars, nest boxes, and the poultry netting. So even if I wanted an added light, I can't because they're spread out in several different locations on the property and there's no electric.
I have two coops like this.
That's really cool.
The bottoms are hardware mesh, so the poop falls right through. The sides are hardware mesh, so it gives them plenty of air. But come wintertime, I can just cover them up.
We do it the same. Your design is very similar to what our playhouses are. They don't have wheels on yet, but they will do. And then what I do for the sides is I just staple up feed bags. If you want to know any frugal chicken keeping tips, time saving and frugal, that's us.
PVC plastic shower curtains.
They work great too.
Clear. $6 a piece on Amazon. You get them in different sizes. They have little grommets on top. You can hang them up. Magnets on the bottom to connect to your hardware mesh.
Hey, that's clever. I didn't think about the magnets.
Yeah. Now I do leather work, so I have tools to do grommets and everything. One of my lights just turned off in front of my face. I don't know why it did, but I actually can cut this PVC plastic and set grommets in there.
That's great.
So I can just, and grommets are easy to set. You can buy a grommet setter from Amazon, of course, nowadays, but they make little handheld operated ones. You can punch a hole and set it by hand. But it's a good thing about the grommets is it creates a hole that's protected.
Right.
So that every year you continue using that piece of plastic and putting screws in those holes.
Right.
And not screwing them up. So you can put grommets all the way around the window and screw it in there. And that's all you got to do.
I like that.
Yeah. So, and I tell people constantly, please do not use heat lamps in your chicken coops.
That's another, I know.
I post up this photo constantly. And heat lamps kill.
They do, not just your chickens, but if it's attached to your home or your garage or any other building, it will completely tear it down, just like those pictures. And I tell people this: you are worried about your bird getting cold. but how worried are you? And can you just take a few moments to imagine how painful it would be to have your birds in your coop burned alive? Please, I know it's graphic, but take a moment to think about how you would feel if that happened and feel what that would happen. Let them be. They are just fine. Heat lamps are more for people's minds to be set at ease, even though it's the opposite for me. It's more worrisome because we've seen the carnage from other people. But I just tell people, if you're worried about cold, worry more about fire.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't catch on anything, I had someone contact me last year. The bulb actually exploded. They won the insurance settlement case because there was no negligence, but they had a heat lamp and the bulb actually exploded and it burned down their whole house.
Yeah, I mean, you can't mess with those things. They're really dangerous. And,
Mm-hmm.
even if, you go outside and turn on your light at night to go let a dog outside and your coop's out there, the light turning on inside the coop can startle the birds. The birds would fly up in the air,
Yep.
hit the lamp, and that's clamped on there,
Yep.
knock it down as a pine shape. So that's it. That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then you go back in your house because you didn't see it happen. You didn't hear it happen.
Yep.
You go back in your house, they say,
Yeah.
goodbye, Jess. I mean, you got blackened chicken for dinner.
Oh, if any of it's even left, I mean,
I know.
But
So, real quick here, this is a brooder I built. It's 4 feet by 4 feet by 2 feet deep. It sits up on legs, and it's got 2 hinge doors, and it's got a center wall I can take out, and it holds about 50 chicks. Now, if you look in the center of the photo where the hinges are at,
mm-hmm.
the hinge on the left-hand side to the right, you'll see a little black spot.
Is that from a heat lamp?
That's from a heat lamp.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
And the heat lamp was attached to a chain up above, a chain from the side, a chain from the other side, but a raccoon or something in the middle of the night got up and it moved over the wood.
Just enough.
Just enough, and it started on fire. I mean, it didn't burn down, of course, but it smoldered,
Yep. And so, and that's all it takes. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't use heat lamps, but in my brooders, I use ceramic heat bulbs. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Yeah, I've seen those. I was wondering about those. The ones they use for reptiles.
Fantastic. Love them. But you can't tell when they're on. They're a solid ceramic. There's a wire coil inside. And even those can be dangerous. I set one down. I didn't realize that it had been plugged in. And I have a laminate floor where my chick room is. And it melted the floor. But it wasn't a big deal because now I get new floors in there. So I'm not too mad about it. But they are far superior in many ways. They still pose a danger if you're not careful or if accidents happen. But we use those in all of our brooders, and I like them very much. And the other reason I like them is because, like you were talking about, we'll get back to the egg laying, the natural rhythm of sleep. And the baby chicks go to sleep when the sun goes down because there's no red light above them, and they get used to their own body clock, and they get used to darkness, and they're not scared if the lights flick off all of a sudden if they're in the room. So I like those for a number of reasons, and just letting them have nighttime is one of the other reasons I like.
My brooder is outside under my back porch, so they're protected from rain but not the cold. So I use the heat lamps, and it keeps them warm and everything. And then at the end of at the end of the brooder, I actually have an old quilt over the end of it so that they can escape the heat a little bit
when they want
to, but they're not in horrible cold weather.
Yeah.
And they work for me, And now what I've done is I've got the chain 4 ways. I mean, I've got a chain to the top.
Right.
I got a chain left and right. East and west, so it doesn't move at all. I have to disconnect the chain to open it up.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the only way it's going to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the top is hardware mesh and everything, so I don't have to worry about falling through.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't like heat lamps either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the light thing, and like I said, we don't have any on our adult coops because they're out on pasture, so I don't have any options really. I've told people I have different thoughts on this. Me, like you, I go more natural and I say they can have their rest, they need their sleep. And it's just like trees in the wintertime. We have a foreign exchange student. She's from a country where the trees don't lose their leaves in winter. So I was explaining, and it works for chickens too. The days get shorter, the trees don't get the light they need. The leaves are flat and wide and open, and they're going to get cold. So they just let them go. They use all the winter time and they rest. They store up. They don't have enough daylight to grow anything. But then spring comes and it just brings back that warmth, all that energy that they were spending trying to keep themselves going. And then that's when those eggs start to come back, when their bodies can relax and they can do their thing. Now, in some cases, fresh chickens is what I like to call them, chickens that were hatched in the spring, early spring, January, February, March. It's their first year of laying, so you may get chickens who lay through their first winter. And I've had that experience with a lot of mine who I hatch in the really early spring. The ones that are going to start laying later in maybe December or so, they kind of can sputter start. But I think a lot of the people who got chickens last year for the first time or the year before for the first time are the ones who are having these questions, because this is the time of year where a chicken will have its first grown adult molt. So maybe they laid through their first winter, but this year they went through their first real hot summer, which was also a huge challenge. Now they're going through those hard molts like we were talking about, and it's really difficult. And something I've said to people is that a chicken is not a Pez dispenser. We want to have an animal that we think is going to give us a nice little egg every day. And most of the time we can. But like you said, it's just nature.
Yeah,
It just doesn't always work that way.
yeah. So they need a break too. Yeah.
They do. But another thing that I'd love to share with people, and something that we do, is in the early spring, I hatch a lot of my eggs. And I'll be the first to admit, sometimes I'm hatching so much that I'll actually buy eggs from my next door neighbor who has those Rhode Island Reds, who has those other really good solid egg layers, because some of my eggs are more valuable for me to hatch than they are to eat.
Mhm.
But once I'm done hatching, and when these girls are really in their heyday, is when I start collecting all my really good eggs, my really clean eggs, and I start water glassing them. And you can fit 3 dozen eggs into a gallon jar. And I don't know how many family members everybody has, but about 3 dozen eggs would get us through about 3 weeks in my household. So judge accordingly. So if you get spring chickens, when you get your nice spring layers, that's the perfect time. Everybody, I see so many posts on Facebook, people saying, I can't give these eggs away. Well, I guarantee you in about 2 months, people are going to be wanting eggs still because their girls stop laying, they're slow down. We'll dip into your water glass preserved eggs and they'll be there for you. That's another thing that we did this year that I'm really happy about.
I do markets every weekend, so I sell them every weekend at markets. I do coffee too. I have a coffee business.
I love that.
Yeah, so I do coffee every weekend, so that keeps me busy. So yeah, you drink coffee?
Heck yeah. I'm going to have to sample some of your goods because I'm kind of a coffee snob.
Yeah, here's one of my top sellers.
I love that.
The Cock-a-doodle Brew Breakfast Blend. If the rooster doesn't wake you up, the coffee will. That's one of my favorites. I love drinking that one.
Is it a nice full body dark roast? I'm thinking.
Well, here's the deal. A breakfast blend of coffee is your medium roast coffee.
Gotcha.
With has the delicious flavor, but it also has an extra shot of caffeine in it to get you going in the morning.
Nice.
Okay. Whereas if you drink a dark roast coffee with all that delicious flavor, you'll lose your caffeine in the roasting process.
Oh, because it's roasted out a little bit, huh?
It's roasted out.
Gotcha.
So I have like underneath Bailey's Brew coffee. If you go to Bailey's Brew website, in fact, I'll put the logo up for it. So you got a link. Here it is right here. There it is right there. If you go to there and you see Runt Roast Coffee,
Burnt roast.
Runt Roast Coffee is that, that runt in the litter that, it's kind of kept to itself, and kind of quiet, and then when you get it, it just, blows up in your face. Is a dark roast coffee with a shot of caffeine in it. So that's a Bailey's Brew Runt Roast.
And how do you add the shot of caffeine?
Just by adding, when you go to mix of beans, so you can mix beans.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you take your dark roast beans and you take your light roast beans and mix them together.
Gotcha. I like that.
So, and there's people out there that'll try and roast coffee to a medium roast, a medium dark roast, and but you can just mix the beans and
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I like to do that.
Another top seller of Bailey's is the drunk chicken bourbon pecan.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I've had a coffee from a place, I think it's called Cooper's Cask. Have you heard of it? They age their beans in barrels. Some are bourbon barrels.
That's fusion infusing, and I've heard of that, but I don't like that method.
It's a really interesting thing, and you really have to like whatever they've put them in, because some of the barrels are really good and some of them were so
because you have to have a barrel that's had bourbon in it in the last like 3 weeks.
Yeah, you can really get that essence of it,
but you can't use just any bean with any kind of bourbon.
Right.
You got to test out different beans, because not every bean will work with a bourbon, and I know that for a fact, because it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
And not every bourbon tastes good with a coffee.
That's a fact too.
I have a friend of mine that has a distillery. He goes, "Hey man, set me up." I'm like, "I already tried."
Not happening.
Not gonna happen. Your coffee, your bourbon doesn't taste good with the coffee. Sorry. Maybe add a ton of sugar to it or something, but no. So here's another blend that's real popular, the Millionaire Blend.
Oh, I like that.
It's called Millionaire Blend because it tastes like the Millionaire candy, which is pecan, caramel, vanilla, and chocolate.
That sounds really good.
Oh yeah. So, and this was originally another blend of coffee called Donna's Delight, because I have Patriot Knife Coffee Company that benefits veterans organizations.
Oh yeah.
And if you go under there, you'll see Donna's Delight, which is named after my late sister, that made us Millionaire candy for Christmas every year.
Aww.
So this blend that's where I got the blend from.
That's sweet.
So then I have a horse series of coffee too. I have Saddlehorn Coffee Company, and there's Miss Bailey with the Cutters.
So sweet.
Cutters blend, and I've got different series of coffee underneath there. Like I have Rainer's Roast, and then I have a Barrel Racers blend.
Oh, that's cool.
I have a Pole Benders blend. And then I have like a Jumpers blend and a Paso Fino Mocha Roast, So different things, to change it up. But coffee's fun. I love coffee. And I'll get you some samples.
I was going to say, I'll make an order. I'll get a coffee order for you.
Yeah. So, and, I love coffee. It keeps me going and everything. And Bailey likes coffee too. I know it's not good for the dog. So what I do is, I used to be a dark coffee drinker of just coffee only. And I got Bailey, and Bailey had some cream one day. And so now I take one of those little frothers, battery operated ones, and I froth up the cream real good, and I put my coffee in there.
Yeah.
So when I get done drinking it, she licks the cup of the cream.
Aww.
She loves that.
That's sweet.
She gets a little coffee too, but she mainly gets a cream. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So she's a good girl. So how long was your husband in the Marines?
I think it was almost 12 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
He leave for medical reasons, or? Yeah.
Yeah. I think just a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah.
And
if he ever needs a service dog, have him contact me.
Do you train them?
No, we go to a school called the Rescue for PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And they teach veterans how to train their own service dogs.
That would be really cool.
So you could come down to Tomball, where he grew up,
Yeah.
and we meet at the VFW post in Tomball once a month.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, make a weekend of it. Come down with the family or whatever. I mean, does he have relatives down here?
Yeah. His mom, dad, brother, sister, brother.
Yeah, I mean, he could come see family and everything, and then go to training on a Saturday morning for 3 hours.
That's really cool.
And they'll show them how everything to do they need to do to train.
We've actually got 2 really awesome dogs that are just passed 2 years old, so they're ready to get trained. And
what kind of dogs are they?
They're old English sheepdogs.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's great. That's great. So yeah, you pick out the best one you think of the 2 and bring it with you, or bring them both and let the trainers look at them.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you which one will work the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them I've tested a little bit. They're both smart in different ways. It's a male and a female. And the male, I mentioned I have a nerve pain issue, but he's really big. He's almost weighs as much as I do. And I can call him to me and have him sit. I can hold on to him and he can help hoist me up.
He weighs 80 pounds?
He weighs 100 and...
No, I'm kidding. Put you on the spot there.
Something. I was like, wait a second.
I could say, oh, he weighs 150. You know, no. No, but no, they're great. Sam Scott, the trainer there, she's really good. And Laura, she runs the organization, and her husband helps out. And Sam's husband helps out, and they have a ton of volunteers. They have a bunch of high school kids that come out. Like I'll go to this. Like right now, I've got a hole in my ankle, and I get constant nerve pain just shooting that thing. I'm on a regimen of medication, but I still get pain. In the morning, I get pain in the evening, and it just hits me, and but she knows when I'm in pain. She does. Bailey knows when I'm in pain, and she jumps up and she hugs me, and says it's okay, and gives me a hug and everything. As a puppy, the first night I had her, I put her in a kennel. She went right to sleep. And the second night, I had a ton of nerve pain, and she was in her kennel, crying her eyes out, and I'm in my bed, and I'm like,
ready to comfort you.
She's crying out her eyes, I'm crying out my eyes in pain, and I couldn't help it with her and whining and me in pain, so I let her out. And as a puppy, she circled me in the bed.
Oh, she knew.
I mean, here she is, just over 8 weeks old, and she's circling me in my bed. And a puppy, when a puppy is a puppy, their bellies are hot.
Yeah.
She laid her belly right on my leg where I had pain coming from. Oh. And the warmth of her leg, I just fell right to sleep.
Calmed your nerves down.
She never slept in a dog kennel again.
Oh, that's awesome.
She does. I mean, now I kept her in a dog kennel in the front seat of my truck for her protection.
Yeah.
Until she grew out of it, and then she got a seatbelt and a harness. And the seatbelt actually saved her. We got rear-ended one day, and it stopped her. It was at her harness. But now she sleeps every night next to my legs. But I have to say, the other night, it was really cold out. My heat's not on. The AC's still on. I had to
Good old Texas.
And she curled up right next to my head, which she never does. And I don't know, maybe she wanted my body warmth or whatever, I don't know. But when she woke up, she heard me, and the first thing a dog does when they hear their owner is what?
Oh, gosh. Try to come into them. They try to get there as close as they can.
They get inside it.
Yeah.
And they wag their tail.
Yeah.
She pops me in the face with her tail. And I feel like I got punched. I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, man. And I mean, it was just a... And I'm like, and she's kissing me, looking at me because she knows I'm hurting, and I'm like, Bailey, because she snuggles up next to me. She pushes her head down real close to me and cuddles with me in the morning. Well, she popped me in the eye. I'm like, I'm going to end up with a black eye. Thanks
Stinker.
a lot. Yeah, but no, she's awesome. But, she, it's something they didn't teach her. is they didn't teach her 4-letter words, but Bailey knows 4-letter words. Because I'll be driving down the road, someone will cut me off, and I'll go, "You mother!" And she puts her paw out and she grabs me and goes like, "It's okay, Dad.
Calm down.
Calm down."
But did you know there's a lot more letters in that word than 4, though?
Yeah, I know, but the
I
main
know
I'll say the
I
4-letter
to
word
give
a
you a hard
lot,
time.
and she'll come running over to me and like she knows I'm mad about something.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh yeah.
Dogs are just, I think, one of God's gift to us.
Mhm.
They really are. And it's so funny. Just quick little story. I was telling my son he was tired of doing morning chores. And I said, I was tired of doing morning chores this summer because it was so hot. And I said, but I really had to think about this. When you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, then the Lord multiplies your responsibilities because he knows you're doing good enough and you can handle it. And maybe you get a little bit more. And it's really what it is a gift. So all these chickens that we have, they're happy, they're healthy, they're doing their thing. And it's a privilege that we have to care for them. And I said, so we've got extra. Now we've got quail. Now we have turkeys. We have lots of turkeys, which we love. We've got ducks now and some bantam chickens. And so I know it's a lot, sweetheart, but it's just because we're good stewards of what we have and we try really hard to be good stewards. Now we have these 2 English sheepdog dogs, and the lady who breeds them, her stud dog got to her girls and they had 2 extra litters of puppies one year. And so she ended up having too many. And she knows how we treat our animals, so she gave us another one. So we've got 3 of the big ones. Well, guess what just happened? We've been pulling up to our yard every night, and this little healer has been escorting us up our driveway, probably for the last week. And we've been stopping her at the driveway with our dogs, calling her down, but she just keeps coming back. So I thought, we've asked everyone we know about this little dog. She's on my page. I'm kind of hoping that nobody claims her because she's been really good with our poultry and she's already guarding us. She just showed up out of nowhere. And I just thought, well, it's a blessing. It's a little gift. And if she stays, and it's going to be great. But I didn't think we needed number 6 dog.
Oh God.
But here we are.
Man. So I just showed the website.
Saw that. It's great.
For the Rescue for PTSD. And your husband can go online and register on there.
I'm definitely going to check that out. It looks really cool.
And like I said, you can plan the trip. Like the next class is like the first weekend in November. And Bailey just tested last week. She took her final test.
That's awesome.
And Bailey should have done it last year, but I finally got her spayed. And then last year, I was hospitalized 4 times with 4 major leg infections, and I just couldn't take the test. And at the time, I was still taking care of my mother, and I just got in the hospital, started getting better, started feeling better, and boom, she got sick, and then she passed away December 1st, my mom. And then I just had to make a change and moved out to the country, out to here where I like it, out to Hockley. And got all the chickens, and of course, chicken math happened, and
Chickenometry.
Yeah, now I've got 5 chicken coops, and different kinds of breeds, but yeah. But no, I love the chickens and everything. Yeah, just today I had a guy come by and, hey, can I get some eggs from you? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, how much? And he knew how much. He was hoping I'd say less, but I'm sorry, man. I get $5 a dozen no matter what. Doesn't matter who you are, because I gotta pay the bills too.
We gotta feed them so you can eat them.
Yeah. If I don't sell them to you, I'm gonna sell them this weekend at a market. In fact, I'll be in Navasota, Texas this weekend at why couldn't I remember their name? I don't know. Oh God, it's a. Oh my God, I can't believe. And I was like, I gotta mention this on the podcast tonight because people come, but
it'll come back to you. Let me show you this little find. This is my guy. He's got a light inside.
This is your what?
This is my little guy.
Oh, I thought you said, this is my dad. I'm going,
Oh,
what?
God, his ashes are inside. No.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
I am not a chicken decor person. I don't have a lot of chicken shirts. I don't have any chicken jewelry. I don't have any other stuff like this. This is my one chicken item. So if he helps you remember, just stare into the glitter.
I see what you're doing now. Yeah. No, I have a rooster lamp. It was funny as my mom had it for years, and mom was an antique dealer for many years, and her house was full of antiques, and she had these chicken lamps that she made me find for her. She bought one at a store like Ross, I think it was Ross, and she bought it like 20 something years ago, and she wanted another one. I'm like, why? You have one already, you know? And she says, well, I want another one. I want to put in my booth at the antique mall.
You got to have a pair.
Yeah. Well, no, she wanted one for her booth at the antique center where she sold her antiques. So she went online and found that the Ross store in Southwest Houston had one. And if you're in law enforcement and you know the Houston area, you know to stay out of Southwest Houston. So I drove to Southwest Houston to get her this damn chicken lamp. And I mean, I went in there armed to the teeth because of what it is, you know. And but I got her chicken lamp, you know, and
oh, that's great.
You know, and she had it in her booth for years. And I actually traded one. Traded the one I had, the extra one. I have one in my house. The other one I traded.
I was going to ask if you had them still.
I have one. The other one I traded for a chicken.
Fitting.
A real chicken.
Yeah.
So I met a lady that has chickens in Industry, Texas. And I was trading her coffee for chickens. Yeah. And she...
one addiction to another.
Right. And she raises chickens and everything. So I traded her some coffee for chickens. Yeah. So the market this weekend I'm going to is at Martha's Bloomers. Martha's Bloomers. It's a garden center and restaurant in Navasota, Texas. It's located right off of Texas 6, and in Navasota. And they have great lunch, and they have a great menu there. And it's a nice little garden center. So Bailey and I will be there set up selling fresh bag coffee and fresh eggs. And we've got about
really cute.
8 dozen. You just looked them up?
Yeah, right there. They got some cute pictures. Looks very cute. Nice.
And they've been there for 30, 40 years, I think.
I'd like to go there if it was in my area.
Yeah. So we're going to be set up there and selling coffee.
Awesome.
We'll be there next month, and we'll be there in December as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's good that you have a place to go to do
I do 2 markets a month in Navasota. It's not a big town, but it's close to College Station, and they get the crowd from College Station, Texas A&M, and people from there. And I meet a lot of people from the College Station area, Bryan College Station area, come there down their shop in Navasota because it's close.
Yeah. We did markets in the spring this year. I sold a lot of chicks at markets, farmers markets on private properties, and that was. I'm just so grateful for the connections. There's when it comes to poultry, I feel like it's definitely a passion, and the birds have so much to do with it. But a lot of times, you just meet the most wonderful people, and they become your friends, and you just get a lot of. I don't know. I'm sure you have a lot of repeat customers, and you have a lot of people that don't go anywhere else once they've had your stuff, and they realize, that doing things at home is such a far superior way than trying to go to the, Walmart or Brookshire's or whatever's around,
Yeah. I run into quite a few people that are like, well, I can get eggs at Walmart for $2 a dozen. I'm like, well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to discount my eggs. I already know.
Yeah.
And they're like, they don't understand. I'm like, well, a farmer has 30 days to get them to the supplier, and the supplier has 30 days to get them to a grocery store. And so by the time you get them, they could be 2 months old.
Or older. because then they have X amount of time to sell them once they're on the shelves. Not to mention they've been bleach washed and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm perfectly, and I've never had anybody that said that they were not worth it. And I don't sell a lot of eggs because I hatch more when it comes to that kind of thing. But when they see how healthy my chickens are, and you have pasture raised chickens, it makes a huge difference. It makes so much difference to have those girls out there on fresh ground, running, chasing after bugs. They get enrichment,
eating worms, and my especially after rain, they go start digging in the ground because of the worms. Oh, they love those worms.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just so much easier the way that we both do it to keep parasite load down. Disease prevention is so much easier when you're out in there and they're on fresh ground consistently. I don't have a lot of the problems with things being in the dirt or the the soil because they're just they're not cramped either. And I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. Now I do use like in my chicken runs, I use DE mixed in with the dirt and so forth. And then I do a lot of barbecuing. I take all the wood ash and I mix it in there too. Yeah, that works real good for mites and so forth.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you something. You incubate your own eggs, right?
Yep.
I do as well. In fact, I got some in the incubator now, and I checked.
Me too.
I candled them yesterday, and they were all good eggs except for one. Only one of them was fertile. I was like, hallelujah. So, have you ever? Do you have some egg layers that lay double yolk eggs?
We don't.
You don't?
No. And I know some people who do and have asked about twin embryos. And
I don't know. I was just wondering if you ever incubated a double yolk egg before and what happened.
Well, chances are, and what typically happens is there's not enough room in the egg for two embryos to make it to a complete hatch. So they usually end up fighting over space, and it can happen, but it's very rare that they make it through a full development. I saw that.
98 grams.
I've also seen an egg with a shell inside of another egg.
Shell, yeah, right.
Yeah, and I would have been really interested to see what would have happened there. I'm sure it wouldn't have gone well, but no. I've had friends that have hatched double yolkers, and they usually quit part of the way through.
Yeah. I didn't know. I wondered that myself because I get one of these eggs at least once a week. I have a Rhode Island Red. I know a New Hampshire that lays one, and then I've got one in my coop with the Barred Rocks that lays one, and I don't know who's doing it yet.
Yeah,
but and after I move them all around, I'll be able to see.
Yeah, it's just definitely one of those things that it is hit or miss, but the chances of both embryos making it to the end is really rare. You can sometimes get one of them to make it to the end, but usually it ends up not going well, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wondered about it.
Yeah.
Besides, it takes up a lot of room inside the incubator.
The big egg?
Yeah, I mean, I probably put 3 eggs in the place of that one.
Oh.
I mean, that was 98 grams. Now, the record egg is like over 200 grams.
I am sorry for that poor sweet
girl. Oh, my God.
Bless her heart.
Just how much that must hurt. Oh.
I haven't weighed any of my turkey eggs, but we do hatch turkey eggs as well, and they're quite significantly larger than the chicken eggs.
Well, I weigh mine because I have